All right, so let's talk about the extremely hot topic going around right now in Fortnite. Unfortunately, they did another round of layoffs, aka people got let go from their jobs. So we had this happen before. I believe, what was it, 2023? They laid off about 830 employees, which I thought was an extravagant number. I mean, that's a lot of people. I don't think I've ever worked at a job that has had that many employees, let alone that many people fired in one day. And not necessarily fired for wrongdoing, just let go because they couldn't afford to pay them anymore. So Epic Games themselves put out a blog. So let's go through this blog and see if we can make heads or tails of what in the hey batter is going on here. So it's simply titled Today's Layoffs. That's it. I mean, how basic of a title can that be? So it says, this note was sent to Epic employees today. So imagine waking up and getting this email. Here's what it says. Today, we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. So within the last 3 years, they've laid off almost 2,000 people. Again, that's a large amount of people. And then it says, I'm sorry, we're here again. The downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making. And we have to make major cuts to keep the company funded. This layoff, together with over $500 million of identified cost savings in contracting, marketing, and closing some open roles, puts us in a more stable place. Some of the challenges we're facing are industry-wide challenges: slower growth, weaker spending, and tougher cost economics. Current consoles selling less than last generations, and games competing for time against other increasingly engaging forms of entertainment. What in the world does that mean? And then it goes on, and some of our challenges are unique to Epic. Despite Fortnite remaining one of the most successful games in the world, we've had challenges delivering consistent Fortnite magic with every season. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile and optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones. And in being the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and all developers. Holy smokes, they refer to themselves as a tank! Then it says, since it's a thing now, I should note that the layoffs aren't related to AI. To the extent it improves productivity, we want to have as many awesome developers developing great content and tech as we can. So then he talks about what we need to do. He says, what we now need to do is clear. Build awesome Fortnite experiences with fresh, seasonal content, gameplay, story, and live events. Accelerate developer tools with greater stability and capability as we evolve from Unreal Engine 5 and UEFN to Unreal Engine 6. And we'll be kicking off the next generation of Epic with huge launch plans towards the end of the year. This isn't our first time being here. Epic survived upheavals in 1990s with the move from 2D to 3D with Unreal 1. In the 2000s, building console games with Gears of War, and in 2012, moving to online gaming with Paragon and Fortnite. Each time we rebuilt our foundations and earned a renewed leadership position. Market conditions today are the most extreme we've seen since those early days, with massive upheaval in the industry accompanied by massive opportunity for the companies that come out as winners on the other side. That's what we're aiming to do for our players, and we aim to bring other like-minded developers in the industry along on the journey to build an increasingly open and vibrant future of entertainment together. At Epic, we pride ourselves in only hiring the industry's best, so it is very painful to part with so many talented people. The folks impacted by the layoffs will receive a severance package that includes at least 4 months of base pay, with more based on tenure. We're also extending Epic paid healthcare coverage. For example, in the US, they'll receive paid coverage for 6 months. We'll also accelerate their stock options vesting through January 2027 and extend equity exercise options for up to 2 years. We'll have a company meeting Thursday to talk about the roadmap in more detail. Tim. It was Tim Sweetie talking the entire time. Okay, so that is a lot to take in. Basically, they're having trouble paying the bills, as we've already heard. And because of this, they increased the price of V-Bucks, and now they're laying off 1,000 people. That is a lot of people. Now, the good news, if there's any good news in this, is that they didn't just say, hey, you're fired, get out of here. Instead, they gave them a severance package. So that's good. Most companies wouldn't do that. So that gives them about 6 months to get back on their feet. But still, it's horrible. Most of these employees had no idea this was coming. They were just doing their daily duties, and then boom, email out of the blue saying, hey, you're let go, you have 6 months, and that's it. Now, I saw an interview, I don't remember when it was from, but it was Tim Sweeney talking about how Epic Games makes billions every single year. But the problem is they spend more than they bring in, which is a horrible, horrible thing to even consider. Like, how is that even possible? That is not a good business philosophy. If you're spending more than you're making, I mean, you got to do something. And finally, it appears to have caught up to them. He literally said they're spending billions upon billions, but only making like 1 billion. And do you know how much a billion is? It's astronomical. I mean, that's a lot of money. So then they let go of those 800 employees back in 2023. And he said, okay, now we're not spending billions. We're only spending hundreds of millions. What in the world are they spending all this money on? There's no way Fortnite takes billions or even hundreds of millions to run. There's no way. Now, I have heard from some of the people that got let go that Epic pays sensationally. But I feel like some of the decision making is just crazy. So I saw this tweet. This one is just crazy that it's even real. We all know that Tim Sweeney likes UEFN. He wants creative to be a focal point of Fortnite and Epic Games. But look at these numbers. This is from one of my followers. His name is the Reforged Reaper. And here's what he says. I'm sorry, but I just can't take this seriously. They found a way to save about $500 million in costs when they're paying out Steal the Brain Rot, $24 million, The Pit, $30 million, Go Goated, $31 million, Bed Wars, $11 million, Peace Control, $20 million. Just these 5 maps alone have made $116 million in revenue. 1/5 of what they saved by cutting costs today. You can imagine how much more they pay out if you decided to go looking through some more maps. I'm all for paying creators and rewarding us for keeping players engaged in maps, but when it comes at the expense of Fortnite's budget and the livelihoods of 1,900 employees, they should be the priority, not these maps. Insane. So he has a point there. I mean, there's no reason you should be paying out $116 million for 5 maps in Fortnite. That is a lot of money. I mean, I would be content with $1 million. For $1 million, I would make any map under the sun. But for $24 million, $30 million, that's crazy. Now, I'm not saying that it's just UEFN creators that are making all the money, and that's what led to the laying off of 1,000 employees, because obviously it's beyond that. He literally said himself, they're spending way more than they're making. But I feel like letting people go, your employees that are actually keeping the game stable and the company stable, is not the way to do it. But I don't know anything. I don't know behind the scenes. I know one of my followers on Twitter, his name is Evan, an incredibly talented guy. I mean, he did a boatload of stuff for Fortnite behind the scenes. And he was one that got let go. And I've seen people praise him beyond belief for his incredible performance for his job. And he was one that got let go. So how do you replace a man that talented? I don't know. Why was he let go in the first place? I don't know. I wonder how they decided who would get laid off and who would not. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I've seen a lot of doom and gloom posts out there. I assure you, Fortnite is not dying. It's not going anywhere. Yes, this is a major hiccup, so to speak. But the same thing happened in 2023. And then I saw people saying, well, the story is going to be impacted. He literally outlined that he's going to be improving the storyline with more live events and things like that. So for people saying, well, it's the end of all that, I don't believe that's true either. People just like to feed on the social media doom and gloom aspect. Yes, this is horrible, and I actually feel terrible for all 1,000 people that got laid off. But it is not the end of Fortnite. We'll see if Tim holds true to these promises, but yeah, he literally said, let me just find that quote again, it was in the blog. He says, fresh seasonal content, gameplay, story, and live events. So he merged all those into one, and he says all this is going to be possible with the new engine, Unreal Engine 6. So we'll see how this goes, but it is unfortunate that 1,000 people got laid off because they spent too much money every year. So there you go. That is the blog post they put out. If anything else changes, I'll let you know. I've got another video coming out because they're shutting down some game modes too. I didn't want to combine it in this one because it would extend it too long. So I'll do a separate video on that. Stay tuned. But there you go. That was the announcement for the people that got laid off. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Like is always appreciated. And don't forget to use my Support-A-Creator code, which is tabortime.